Hey guys, hope everything is going well. You guys know that drill. Smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and comment down below. Follow me on Instagram at AIH_sports. Follow me on my finance channel at AIH Finance. Alrighty. So, couple of things. It's going to be about being positive and why I believe the industry wants you to be positive. So I saw this post by the great curator last night. Once again, I'm blocked on IG, so I have to go through hula hoops finding his post, and also people sent it to me as well. And basically, he had this long post, basically calling me out without using my name. I'm like, okay, whatever. I guess he was upset that I was insinuating that there are a handful of people engaging in what I believe to be hyping up Star Wars and then in the process dumping their cards. And I believe that, and also he was saying that, you don't want the negativity in the hobby or something like that, right? Same thing over and over again, and why people like the great curator and other people in the industry, they only want you to be positive because they believe that may be hurting their bottom line. Now, that being said, some people may be like, hey, this is an escape and that's why you should just be happy and positive and don't look at the negative. But over here, this hobby, people are arbitraging. People are trying to make money. They're speculating. They're trying to turn it into investment. So when you're trying to look at it from an investment perspective, and I'll do a video once again on investments because people have been commenting down below very passionate answers, which is fine. I will probably respond in the next day or two, I believe. But that being said, when you're looking at an investment perspective, you got to have both sides of the coin. And simply dismissing people because you think they're negative, I think that's the worst possible outcome. And I believe that's going to hurt the hobby long term. And I think it's going to actually make people shy away from this hobby because prices have come down dramatically from where a lot of people were buying it. A lot of people are underwater. So I go back to Josh Luber's paper again, right? And once again, Great Curator did about 2 videos, I think a total of close to 50 minutes, or maybe an hour. He may have done 3 videos, totaling an hour. And I don't believe he covered this topic, and I mentioned in the video yesterday. And it was about hype. Josh Luber talked a lot about this. There's this hype cycle, and basically, shoe companies, because he's part of the shoe industry, he ran StockX, a lot of people or a lot of companies, they didn't manage the hype cycle properly. So just based on what Luber's saying, he wants to, it seems that the way he wants to run Fanatics is he wants to make sure there's hype, but he doesn't want to make sure that the hype fizzles out. And the first product that came out, once again, was Zero Cool. And what happened was some influencers got the product and they were showing it. There's a lot of disappointment to it, actually. This was a test run by Zero Cool, but some people say it's successful because all of the boxes that were sold out. But if you look at the shenanigans, hanky panky, whatever you want to call it, in the secondary market, that was blatantly ridiculous with all of the shill bidding, which I was mocked for. And people will be like, okay, who cares about Zero Cool? Okay, it's just animal products, it's Gary V, they're testing this for little kids, etc., etc., etc. But it was hyped up, secondary market, a lot of hanky panky. No one was talking about it really. There were a couple of channels, but you got to look at it. Was that an inside job by Fanatics with the shill bidding, asking questions? Now, the people mainly buying the boxes were breakers, and I do believe that, my opinion, I believe the breakers were engaging in that shill bidding. Okay? Once again, you only people that could prove it is eBay that can track the IPs on that. But that's just my own opinion. But it goes down to hype, right? So if you are preventing negative comments, right? You don't get the demand, which Josh talks about. You don't get the demand, you won't get the higher prices. So this is why, in my opinion, the industry, they want you to be positive because they want to run these prices to levels that shouldn't be occurring, right? In 2021, those prices that hit the Fleer 86 at that moment, well, it shouldn't have happened. It was all hyped up. And also, you have to remember, even though Golden displayed this, or he showed that, hey, look, I'm going to be selling each individual card one by one. And technically, there's nothing wrong with it. Some people did criticize him for it. The Fleer 86 card did not crash right away. There was a gradual crash to it. And I believe there's one sale of $700 something thousand, and then it crashed down as I think below $200,000. But I think that sale got canceled on PWCC. But I'll have to go back through all those videos. Regardless, now going to, for instance, Star Wars, right? People say I'm negative this, negative that. It used to be a lot more commentary that I used to be negative, right? Before the people were talking about a recession. People saying, oh, what recession you're talking about? Blah, 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 blah. And then the market was crashing. Now, I don't believe we're in a recession now. 2024, 2025 is the recession where I think we're going to hit it. But we shall see. Now, regarding this hype cycle. So I was talking about Star Wars yesterday, right? And I was being labeled negative, right? So let's look at it again. You got a card. Merle got, right? This card was, what? Picked up for pennies on the dollar, right? Sold it to the great Curator for what? $5K. Curator flipped it to DApps for $16,500. Something like that. I thought it was 20 grand. Whatever the price. It was something around there. And then now the asking price, or they're asking, or the YouTube question was, is this a $100,000 Grail card, right? The Grail card that has been flipped about a few times in the past, couple of months. Okay? So, you see this activity going on. Now, people in the industry, people involved in Star Wars will be like, hey, you can't talk down upon it, right? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you look at the stock market or other markets, right, there's bulls and bears. Now, the people in the industry, they only want the bulls. They don't want the bears, people questioning the valuation of the price. And in addition, they won't, they'll say what I'm stating in this video is negative because I talked to one individual who is high up in sports cards, you could say comic book community, etc. Many followers on IG. He told me that he recognized a potential shill bidding pattern going on with these modern Star Wars cards, where many of the reviews or people bidding on it are the same exact people, and they're trying to set a floor. And he noticed this in Marvel cards. I noticed shill bidding in Zero Cool cards, in Patrick Mahomes cards. That was very simple because zero review winners, zero review sellers. Okay, that was a slam dunk. Now, it becomes more difficult when you have people with better reviews, but what they're doing is they're just placing a floor and then not paying for it. And in my opinion, you saw some of this hanky-panky, and this individual I was talking to, you saw some of this hanky-panky in Marvel, which allowed it to run up to ridiculous values and sell on Golden for crazy values, in February. And then the dump started to happen, and people that were in Marvel are now aggressively moving into Star Wars because that's the next thing. Those are the next cards to unload. So once again, the way that Josh is saying in his paper is, okay, you got to manage the hype cycle properly. A lot of people, influencers, did not talk about this, right? So this is what's going on, in my opinion, right? They're trying to manage the hype in a way where they can get out without taking any huge losses, and they're going to make a lot more than lose. And the people coming in towards the end of the hype, they're going to be holding the bag. And then they're going to be probably coming to channels like mine. They're going to go to other channels, maybe Sports Card Radio, maybe Ziggy's channel, etc., 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 because they're sick and tired of this. Now, someone would be like, hey, look, you need to take personal responsibility. Yeah, once again, it is your own responsibility, but I'm just highlighting this, right? There's scouting reports in sports. This is basically a scouting report on people that I believe are pumping and hyping and taking advantage of the situation because they know how the markets work, right? You buy it up, then you hype it up, and before the hype cycle ends, as Luber says, you get rid of it. And and then you move on to the next thing. You say that, hey, you found your grail, picked it up for pennies on the dollar, right? You flipped it, but really it's not your grail, and then you go on. This is how it's done. And I think a lot of people have picked up, and I'm highlighting it, and at times I'm getting very aggressive comments. People are making posts about me. People are coming after me on YouTube. I'm like, okay, fine. And then the last thing I want to end on, I saw a great curator. He was commenting with other people saying that, hey, look, their comments are very, the comments that I see or on my live streams, people are very aggressive. But you have to remember, it's both sides. People come at me aggressively too. So it's not a one-sided street. So, I think he likes Conor McGregor. I mean, you should see Conor McGregor, what he said about Khabib's dad, what he said about Khabib's wife, and what he said about Poirier. He wanted to put him on a stretcher, but it was actually McGregor that got put on a stretcher, and what he called Poirier's wife. I think he crossed the line. But regardless, somehow my supporters, as his buddy calls my supporters Proud Boys, we're the bad guys, but, some guy like he likes is McGregor. McGregor says crazy stuff, man. But anyways, there are comments that get deleted by YouTube. I have no control over that, but, I let people speak. And, it is what it is, guys. But, these are my own thoughts. Anyways, let me know what you think. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Comment down below, guys. Thank you. Bye.